the X-Wing started to open. I was like, uh-oh. I know what that means.
I forgot how Welcome to a podcast named Tim. I'm Zach, and today I'm going to be doing a movie review for Tom and Jerry, which of course was released this weekend. It is on in theaters and on HBO Max, the latest movie to be getting that treatment from WB, and of course all of their movies are going to be doing that. It has a PG rating, of course, and a 1 hour and 41 minute runtime. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it terrible? It's closer to the bad and terrible area, and I'll get into the specifics of it. But overall, there with a challenging movie like this, and the reason I say challenging is you have two main characters who don't talk. They're great, iconic characters. I love Tom and Jerry cartoons, but they don't talk, minus a few times that Tom would sing. And I can imagine being in a writer's room or trying to write an idea or direct it or just come up with a concept or pitch it, whatever. How are we going to do a movie about Tom and Jerry when they don't talk? And I'm sure that was a big barrier. And because of that, we have a lot of other characters and plot points that are introduced into the movie, take away a lot more of the screen time away from what we are here to see, and of course bring the movie down. Some of the Tom and Jerry actual bits and segments are actually pretty good. We have they did some of their old routines. Jerry kind of pretending like he has something in his hand to hide it from Tom before he punches him, of course. Tom building an elaborate crazy plan to capture Jerry. And a couple other ones as well that they did. So they definitely, hit some of the Tom and Jerry marks as far as their set routine that they would have. The issue is, how do you take a 15-minute at max, just show where two characters just beat the crap out of each other and chase each other around and turn it into a full feature-length film. They do this by adding in a wedding that is occurring at a hotel, and it's a very prestigious hotel. Our main character is kind of played by Chloe Moretz. I can't remember her name exactly. Chloe Grace Moretz, and Michael Pena is also in this as kind of her middle management boss in some respects. And so she's kind of, I don't want to say down on her luck, but she's out of a job. She lies and cheats and steals her way into getting a job here at the hotel to help facilitate the biggest wedding that's been in the hotel's recent history. Two very rich and popular people. I don't care about them. No one cares about most of these characters, but they're rich and powerful, and they're doing what rich people do. They're trying to have a very elaborate wedding, partly because they're not really communicating about what needs to happen with their wedding. And through this, of course, Tom and Jerry show up at the hotel, and it's very simple. Jerry is a mouse living at a very nice hotel, and they don't want to have mice there, especially during this very important wedding for their business. And so our main character, who goes by Kayla, is planning to hire. Actually, they do hire him, I guess, because they give him a name tag and a hat. They hire Tom, to catch Jerry, so that they can be rid of their mouse problem. And that's pretty much the plot. Then trying to catch Jerry, of course, doesn't always go as planned. And you have this kind of wedding thing going on in the background that's not very interesting. And of course, the wedding, everything implodes. And in the end, she realizes that she shouldn't have lied, and she helps them get back together because the wedding fell apart. They fell apart, and that's kind of the arc we're going on here. Again, some of the actual Tom and Jerry segments that they had were good. everything else weighed the movie down, but it's something you had to do because you have two characters who can't speak. Um, there was some other characters from the Tom and Jerry universe, I guess, that were also in this, and that's Spike. There's always the one female cat. I don't know her name, and some of the alley cats that are typically um, nemesis. This is nemesises. Yes, arch rivals of Tom are also featured in it. Unfortunately, no Nibbles. I think that is the name of the little mouse that comes along with Jerry, and no Quacker the duck. So that is very unfortunate. I thought that the movie could have. I mean, look, it's only an hour and 41 minutes, but it's an hour and 41 minutes. We need to keep that at 89 minutes. Just it would have helped, and it, it really would have helped to do that. I'm just thinking one of the things if you were to put me in charge of making this film, one of the things I think changes that I would have made is one, at least have one segment of the film where you have a more classical style of Tom and Jerry music. They relied on much more modern music, which I understand. That's fine. Actually, it was interesting. I was not expecting the opening credits sequence to feature Tribe Called Quest. I was like, oh, okay, we're interesting start to the film. But just one of those segments with some of the more classical sound effects and music would have, at least I didn't notice it as much. If it was there, it was, I didn't notice it. And I think if they would have focused the movie on just a house, most Tom and Jerry, for those who ever watched it, most Tom and Jerry episodes or whatever shorts would focus on there's a house, the mom and dad, or the mom and dad, the people who live there are leaving or going out of town for the weekend, and get rid of that mouse before we get back, and you never see them. It's just from legs down. And so I thought if they could have recreated that in some respects, maybe that would have helped. We would have certainly got rid of this marriage plot, and probably would have been able to trim some of the movie, and then they could have, spread out into the town wherever they lived. But that's something I would have probably done with it. Also, there's a weird bit where, in the beginning of the movie, Tom is playing the keyboard very well. He has played the piano, I think, in at least one famous episode I can remember. And there's like a little there's a John Legend sign, like Times Square or something like that, and you can see that Tom is envisioning himself performing with John Legend. And I thought immediately, I'm like, oh, John Legend's going to make a cameo in this film because he's his idol, and they've got to now cross paths in some form or fashion. And they didn't do that cameo. It just seemed like the obvious setup for those normal, not live action, but animated and live action people, integrating and interacting with each other. It seemed like a weird missed opportunity to miss on an easy cameo, but that's just me. And so I would say not a great movie. Avoid it. Definitely do not go to the theaters to watch this. If you're going to watch it, put it on HBO Max. I will say this is not just me being an old curmudgeon. I put this on for our family movie night, and my daughter is 4 years old, and she lasted a whole 13 minutes, and then she just got up and was done and started playing, and I was like, well, I guess it couldn't have been that good, because clearly, a target audience not interested. And I hyped her up, I showed her some Tom and Jerry. She's a big fan of Looney Tunes. I showed her some actual Tom and Jerry the day beforehand to kind of get her ready, and she was interested in that. But yeah, she just was like, "No, I'm done. I'm gonna go not do this." So I pretty much watched it by myself after that. But that's my thoughts on it. I think it is not great, which we all knew. We knew it was not going to be great. We saw the trailer. We knew what we were getting into. But let me know your thoughts. Maybe you liked it more than I did, but not a great film. But that's okay. There's plenty of the year left. WB has more movies. I've only seen two. of their movies that have gone straight to HBO Max. Wonder Woman 84 and this, and so far not doing very well. But maybe Mortal Kombat, which we're definitely going to be doing a review on. Maybe that'll pick up the slack. Well, thank you for checking out this video, and we'll see you next time here on a podcast named Tim.